The story begins with a boy named Kirusu waking up to his alarm next to a girl named Mia. Mia is a non-human species with an upper body like a woman and a lower body like a snake. Mia hugs him tight as he tries to get up, burying his face between her two huge melons. Kirusu feels he will pass out and pleads with her to let him go. However, Mia hugs him even tighter. Kirusu grabs the opportunity to massage her tail, which arouses her, and she loses the grip on him. He tries getting away, but she again catches him, putting his face in between her mommy milkers, and lets him free after some time. Kirusu is seen short of breath, all blue. Every room in Kirusu's house is huge, so Mia's huge snake-like body can fit in. When Kirusu goes to the washroom, Mia joins him, and he blushes with embarrassment. He tries to leave, but Mia stops him so they can bathe together. She grabs him by his waist and presses her milkers to his back. Kirusu tells her that it's prohibited by law, but she doesn't listen. Eventually, Kirusu has to leave, causing much displeasure to Mia. As he comes outside the bathroom, he bangs his head repeatedly, frustrated. By law, humans are not allowed to get intimate with non-human species. However, Mia keeps seducing Kirusu. As Kirusu makes breakfast, he listens to the news, and the reporter explains that a law was passed so that humans could interact with non-human species. Non-human species like Mia have slowly become a part of the human culture without causing much trouble. Kirusu switches off the television, remembering how his morning was a disaster. Suddenly, he gets shocked to see his coordinator, Smith, who gave him custody of Mia. She is here to ensure Kirusu was not involved in any prohibited activities. These activities include not hurting a non-human species in any way possible, plus not having an intimate relationship with them. As Kirusu clarifies that he hasn't gone against the prescribed rules, Mia shows up. She grabs Kirusu by her tail and tells Smith to leave. Smith leaves, and then Mia asks Kirusu if it is really important not to be involved in any activity forbidden by law. She tells him that she was scared Kirusu won't accept her, as most human beings are disgusted by her body at first glance. She then tells him she is madly in love with him and doesn't care, even if he hurts her. She further invites him to be intimate by grabbing him tight in her swirl tail. However, her grip is so strong that Kirusu's shoulder gets dislocated, and Smith has to adjust it later. After some time, Kirusu and Mia go on a date. Before they left, Smith told Kirusu to always be on her side and not to take her to any love hotel. As the date begins, Mia and Kirusu visit many shops, and in the end, Mia takes him to a lingerie shop. Kirusu is reluctant to stay there, but she doesn't let him leave. She even drags him to the changing room and asks him which bra he would like for her. Kirusu leaves the changing room somehow, but accidentally takes Mia's panties with him. He wonders if her snake-like body needs underwear, but then Mia snatches away her panty, calling him a pervert. Then, they leave the shop and continue their way back home. However, a couple starts harassing Mia for calling Kirusu darling. Enraged, Mia attacks them with her tail, but Kirusu intervenes and receives the attack instead. Mia is shocked to see Kirusu hurt, and he tells her that humans and non-human species can't hurt each other by law. As Kirusu has received a strong hit from Mia, many people appear to take their pictures and are amazed to learn that Mia and Kirusu are together. Mia feels uncomfortable, and she asks Kirusu to take her somewhere private. The only nearby private place happens to be a hotel, and they both go there. In the hotel room, Kirusu manages to control his desires, whereas Mia tells him she doesn't care if he hurts her or gets intimate with her. As she lies half defenseless on the bed, Smith arrives and arrests both of them. As they leave, they see the same couple who made fun of Mia, and they harass her again. Enraged, Kirusu punches the man's face so hard that his nose starts bleeding. When they get back home, Mia asks him why he hit the man, to which Kirusu tells her that perverts like him deserve punishment. Further, he couldn't just tolerate a man harassing a girl. Hearing this, Mia becomes emotional and jumps on Kirusu. She then invites him again to be intimate with her. However, they both are disrupted by the sudden appearance of Smith, who demands something for dinner. The next morning, another non-human bird-like species named Pappy arrives at Kirusu's home. She has a lower body like an eagle and an upper body like a woman. Surprisingly, she takes Kirusu with her, leaving Mia shocked and angry. As Pappy takes Kirusu to her tree, Kirusu asks her where her caretaker is, to which she tells him that from now on, he is her caretaker. Kirusu is annoyed, and she then takes him to an ice cream stall. As they both eat ice cream on a bench, Pappy tells Kirusu that she has run away from her coordinator many times and has been warned to be deported if she runs away again. Kirusu tells her that she is in huge trouble. Hearing this, the ice cream cone slips from Pappy's eagle-like arms. She cries in disappointment as she didn't even take a bite. As she is messy, she starts bathing in front of everyone in a fountain, unplotted. Kirusu understands she has yet to adapt to human culture. Pappy then drags Kirusu into the water as well, despite his denial. Jealous Mia arrives there, and both girls start fighting over Kirusu. Suddenly, they hear a scared little girl crying who is stuck on a tree's branch. Mia and Pappy see this opportunity to impress Kirusu and move forward to save the girl. As Pappy tries to fly, she falls because her wings are wet, and then Mia climbs the tree to rescue the girl. However, she scares the girl, and she falls. Pappy flies somehow to catch the girl, but when she catches her, her weight increases. Kirusu jumps beneath her and saves her from hitting the ground. Then, a police officer arrives, and the trio tells him the girl he must be looking for is already saved. Seeing two non-human species, the officer inquires where their caretakers are, and Kirusu tells him he is taking care of both of them. The officer then demands custody papers, which makes Kirusu sweat in nervousness. He doesn't know what to do because he doesn't have custody of Pappy, but then he is saved by Smith, who arrives with custody papers. As they go home, they ask Smith how she was able to arrive with custody papers on such short notice. Smith informs Kirusu that she is the coordinator of Pappy, who has run away so many times. That's why she had the papers ready to assign her custody to Kirusu so she doesn't run away again. Hearing this, Pappy is excited, and she then takes Kirusu to the washroom to let him help her clean up. As they leave, Smith asks Mia if she is okay with Pappy living in the home. Mia informs her that Pappy is a minor, so that's why she isn't jealous of her. However, Smith tells Mia that Pappy looks small but is exactly Mia's age, enraging her. Mia then rushes to the washroom to separate Pappy from Kirusu. The next morning, Kirusu leaves for grocery shopping, and on his way back, he encounters a huge horse-like girl named Centauria. Unfortunately, she also insists on making Kirusu her master. Smith, who is on leave today, asks Kirusu to take care of Centauria, annoying him. As Kirusu and Centauria engage in a conversation, a robber snatches a lady's purse, and Centauria takes out her sword to chase the robber. However, she can't use a weapon against a human, so Kirusu must accompany her during the chase. Kirusu rides her, and she runs at a very high speed. As she runs, Kirusu thinks he will fall, so he grabs her tightly and tells her to slow down. The robber is on a bike with Centauria behind him. As her speed increases on a busy road, Kirusu accidentally grabs her by her melons, confusing her. She loses her control, and her shirt gets ripped off with her sword lost somewhere. The robber also meets an accident while Kirusu and Centauria hit a shop's entrance gate and fall. As Centauria moves forward to punish Kirusu for touching her inappropriately, the robber appears with the sword and attacks her. However, Kirusu intervenes and receives the attack, winning Centauria's respect. Centauria then takes him to his home, and Kirusu learns that the sword was fake. From Smith, he also learns that riding a centaur without being a legal master to her is like rape. He gets shocked and asks for Centauria's forgiveness for riding her, but she forgives him immediately. Instead, she tells him she has finally chosen him as her master. Suddenly, Mia and Pappy appear and show their disappointment in Kirusu for bringing another girl. The next day starts with a fight between Mia and Centauria while Pappy is tired of learning all the human rules. She then wants to bathe to cool down, and Kirusu joins her. During the bath, Pappy tries to seduce him, but Kirusu panics and Centauria arrives, taking Kirusu out of the home. As Centauria and Kirusu talk, Centauria tells him that she will always be a loyal knight to him and protect him at any cost. Kirusu asks her to enjoy her life other than being a knight too. Centauria asks him to grab her hand because she wants to experience what it feels like when someone grabs her hand. As Kirusu grabs her hand, she blushes and prohibits him from even looking at her red face. Suddenly, Mia and Pappy arrive, and the trio start fighting over Kirusu, calling him my man. Smith, who passes by them, stops the fight by shooting 3 tranquilizer darts, but accidentally, they are taken by Kirusu, who goes unconscious. Upon returning home, when Kirusu wakes up, he finds Smith by his side. He sees girls hiding behind a door sadly. The 3 of them apologize to him for their silly behavior and promise to hold back next time. However, Kirusu asks them not to hold back as they are a family and tells them that he has already forgiven them. Hearing this, Smith tells him that there is an amendment in the law that allows humans to marry non-human species. Additionally, Kirusu will have to marry one of the 3 girls in his home, and he can take time to decide who it is going to be. Kirusu is devastated to learn this, and then Smith leaves. It's a full moon night, and the girls lose control over their desires, so they embark on a mission to seduce Kirusu. First, Mia jumps on him, Pappy breaks through the window, and finally, Centauria. The girls fight over him again, and Kirusu somehow contacts Smith about what to do. Smith tells him that he needs to give a final decision to the girls so they may stop fighting. In the morning, Kirusu, with many bandages, tells the girls that from today onwards, he will date them all as his potential marriage partners. After saying this, he falls due to his injuries from last night's fights. Now each girl thinks of ways to win the position of Kirusu's wife. Kirusu then makes dinner for everyone and calls them to eat. Surprisingly, Mia is attacked by a slime when she opens the pot. She falls sick after that, and Kirusu wonders why a slime appeared out of nowhere. That night, another slime attacks Kirusu, and Centauria tries to protect him. However, she herself doesn't have correct knowledge about slimes, so they both fight with the slime, and their entire bodies become slimy. After that, Kirusu takes a bath, and while he is cleaning up, Centauria knocks, seeking permission to enter. Kirusu allows her, and she enters without clothes. Kirusu panics, and he asks her to wear at least something. However, she comes forward and asks Kirusu if he could help her clean up, which Kirusu eventually does. Then, they both go into a bathtub, and Kirusu asks what could be the reason behind several slimes showing up, to which Centauria tells him they might be chasing water. Speaking of water, they both realize that slime can be in a bathroom too. And they are right. A slime is seen sticking to the ceiling, and both prepare to save themselves. The slime attacks Centauria first, who goes unconscious, and then it grabs Kirusu. Surprisingly, the slime is also a girl who starts cleaning up Kirusu. Kirusu realizes that the slimy girl is not dangerous, and she is trying to communicate with them by imitating everyone's moves in the home. That's why a part of her actions is seducing him, and then she hugs him tight, so tight that he can't breathe. Kirusu somehow manages to jump into the bathtub and finally breathes. However, the slimy girl melts into the bathtub, losing her body shape, and Kirusu takes her out. After some time, Kirusu tells the other girls about the presence of a slimy girl, and they first give her a raincoat to cover her body. Pappy becomes friends with the slimy girl, and she names her Sue. While Pappy and Sue play, Mia and Centauria suggest Kirusu contact Smith and tell her about Sue as they don't know her origin. They can't just let another girl in the home, which might create problems later as it is illegal. As they discuss this, Pappy flies away with Sue, and Kirusu chases them in panic. After some time, Kirusu comes across a river and notices Pappy still flying in the air with Sue clinging to her feet. Kirusu observes Sue becoming increasingly anxious as they approach a river from a considerable height. Sue falls on Kirusu standing beneath, and then Pappy runs towards Sue, asking her if she is fine. Kirusu realizes that Sue melted in the bathtub earlier, so she thought she would die when a river came. That's why she was struggling, and Pappy couldn't handle her anymore. Suddenly, some kids appear and ask Pappy to play with them as they have brought some water guns. Pappy joins them, and Sue fills herself with some water to get bigger. Then she joins Pappy and starts playing. They all run while playing, and Kirusu follows them. Suddenly, the same couple who harassed Mia initially is seen driving recklessly. Unfortunately, they lose control of the car when a child playing comes in front of them. Unexpectedly, Sue saves her, taking all the effect from the car's hit. Kirusu sees Sue stuck to the wall after saving the kid, and the wall then cracks because the car hit it. The wall breaks and Sue falls into the river. Pappy tries to save her, but Sue slips from her hand and says goodbye. Pappy thinks Sue has died, but Kirusu somehow manages to save her by driving a car into the river. Seeing this, Pappy becomes happy, and she hugs Sue. Then, Kirusu takes Pappy and Sue home and tells Mia and Centauria on call that they don't need to report Sue to Smith as she hasn't done anything wrong. Sue lacks common sense, and they can teach her basic common sense by playing the roles of mother and father, but reporting her is wrong. They will keep her presence a secret from Smith, but when he enters, he finds that Smith is already there, and she sees Sue with him, shocking Kirusu. Kirusu and his girls prepare to guard themselves against the government, which has detected Sue's illegal presence in the home. Many laborers enter Kirusu's house, and they start breaking his home's walls. However, they are not here to arrest him or destroy his house, but to build a separate waterproof room. Girls think government officers will arrest them, so they take Sue and run away with Kirusu back home. When Sue needs water, she starts licking Pappy's sweaty body. They understand that if they are wet, Sue will lick their bodies because she needs moisture. Meanwhile, Kirusu runs around the city to find the girls. On his way, he bumps into a mermaid in a wheelchair named Miro. After a little talk, she tells him she saw the girls he is looking for. Kirusu eventually finds the girls hiding from the government officials in a jungle. Centaurea accidentally hits a water tap, and it leaks, making her wet. Seeing this, Sue enters her rump area to absorb the water. Sue then comes for Mia, and she dehydrates all three of them in a matter of seconds. Seeing Miro and Kirusu, Sue attacks Miro too, but Kirusu traps her in a plastic bag so she doesn't come out. When they go home, they are surprised to learn that the construction of the new room wasn't for Sue. Instead, it was for Miro, the new non-human fish-like species admitted into Kirusu's home. Mia is the most jealous of all the girls because she thinks there is a new romantic rival in this home. Mia breaks Miro's wheelchair, and Kirusu tries carrying Miro to her room. Witnessing this, the girls create a mess at home due to their anger because they think Kirusu is trying to be intimate with her. He clarifies that until the new wheelchair comes, he will have to carry Miro. As Kirusu carries Miro, her blouse accidentally comes into his hands, and she tells him that because her mermaid body is always covered in mucus, her clothes sometimes come off automatically. Kirusu then takes her to the room, and jealous, Mia tries distracting Kirusu by first covering her body in slime so that Kirusu can bathe with her. Then, she increases the AC temperature in Miro's room so she catches a cold. However, her attempts fail as Kirusu doesn't bathe with her, and Miro's body resists cold temperatures. Mia then teams up with other girls to clear her path, but she sees Pappy trying to play with Miro, enraging her as she thinks Pappy has changed sides. Later, Miro reveals to the girls that mermaids have always adored humans. Then, she tells a sad love story of a mermaid who fell in love with a human but couldn't be together. Mia and Centaurea are against Miro, but when they talk to her, Miro compliments Centaurea for being a loyal savior to Kirusu, and she gets lost in her thoughts. Mia makes her come back to her reality, and then Kirusu arrives. He then leaves with Miro to her room, carrying her. Mia then tells Centaurea that it was her dream to be carried by her master, and now seeing Miro in Kirusu's hands makes her sad. She cries, saying that Miro must seduce Kirusu by wearing a swimsuit, and then Centaurea suggests she wear a swimsuit too. Mia then wears a swimsuit and sees Kirusu sitting beside a swimming pool with Miro. Mia tries seducing him and invites him to swim with her. Then, Centaurea enters with the shortest swimsuit a girl could ever wear. Happy also arrives to find Sue, but Mia asks them to leave. As they leave, Kirusu and Miro fall into the pool accidentally, and Mia jumps in to save Kirusu. However, her body temperature falls, and she thinks she will die. But then Kirusu saves her and brings her out of the pool. Seeing Mia sick, Miro hugs her to warm Mia's cold body. Kirusu then asks Mia to take a warm bath, and Miro joins her. When Miro and Mia are in the bathtub, Mia apologizes to Miro for being rude. But then she also tells her that she will not let Miro marry Kirusu, to which Miro clarifies that it was never her intention to marry Kirusu. Instead, she only wants a tragic love, much like the sad love story famous among the mermaids. As they both talk, Centaurea and Pappy listen to them secretly, while Kirusu thinks they have become friends. Mia makes breakfast for everyone to try and charm Kirusu. However, she is terrible at it and burns both hands badly. After the incident, Mia locks herself in her room, prompting Kirusu to calm her down. However, she reveals that she is shedding her snakeskin and doesn't want Kirusu to look at it because it's embarrassing. Since she can't do it alone, Kirusu decides to help her. He comes to her bed and removes her skin as if he is enjoying it. Everything goes well until Mia covers Kirusu's eyes with her tail, and he accidentally touches her strawberry, causing Mia to scream loudly. After her skin is peeled off successfully, Mia decides to cook for him again as a reward. The other monster girls also arrive at the table, and seeing the food, they are disgusted by its smell and sight. Later, Pappy informs everyone that she's about to lay an egg, and upon hearing this, the girls prepare to beat up Kirusu, thinking he couldn't keep his cucumber in his pants. However, Pappy explains that harpies lay eggs from time to time, similar to chickens. Suddenly, a strange man appears at their door, claiming to be a director who's making a documentary on interspecies exchange. However, as he records the girls, he asks them inappropriate questions, which reveals what he is really interested in. His main objective is to record videos of the girls and sell these to earn huge profits. The fatso also tries to take the skin that Mia had peeled off, telling her that it will contribute to many scientific discoveries. Meanwhile, Pappy's egg starts to hatch, and everyone goes to help, especially Kirusu, who acts like a father during childbirth. The director rushes to record this scene, and while he is recording, Sue reveals her new ability to read minds. She reads the director's mind and shocks everyone with his evil intentions. The girls are furious, and Kirusu attacks the man by throwing an egg at him. The man thinks it's Pappy's egg, but Kirusu punches him in his disgusting face, which knocks him out. After that, Pappy finally lays her huge egg after much discomfort. During dinner, Smith joins them and Kirusu asks Pappy where she put her egg, to which she reveals that it's in the fridge. Meanwhile, Mia is shown boiling a big egg, which scares Kirusu. The scene cuts to the director in his house. It is revealed that he is taking care of a spider-like monster girl. After she hears about Kirusu, the girl shoots her white liquid at the man and then leaves to find the boy. The next morning, a manga store is shown where a group of armed orcs cause chaos by taking hostages. The government can't find any option to defeat the orcs, since humans can't harm non-human species. Therefore, the government calls upon Agent Smith and her team of special monster girls. As Smith sends those girls, Zombine is found by the orcs and killed. Suddenly, the orcs spot a random girl in the store who resembles one of their favorite manga characters, prompting them to catch her. The girl cries for help from the window so these bastards can't harm her. Seeing the girl asking for help, Manako, who is positioned a mile away, shoots at the store using her sniper. Meanwhile, a giant transformer breaks in and swiftly takes down two of the orcs. As the orcs are panicking, Zombine, who was thought to be dead, gets up and defeats two more orcs. The last orc uses his hostage to shield himself, however, he receives a powerful kick to the face. The girl held hostage is also an agent named Doppel. Then, Agent Smith arrives, and the remaining orcs surrender. Back at Kirusu's house, Smith pays them a visit and also invites the four monster girls. After that, the agent girls are sent to the director's home, who is still stuck in a web cocoon. The agent girls detect the presence of another monster girl. Eventually, Manako finds the spider girl on the roof, but she misses the shot with her sniper. Meanwhile, Kirusu goes off to the market. At night, Pappy and Sue bring food that they found outside of the house, not knowing that the food was brought by Kirusu, who is nowhere to be seen. Kirusu is held captive and Ratchnara surprises him. A small guard appears and searches the warehouse, so Ratchnara carries Kirusu to the ceiling to hide. The guard finds the place creepy and leaves while Ratchnara almost throws Kirusu to the ground from the ceiling but then catches him. Upon asking why she isn't with her caretaker, she shares her story, explaining that the family who took her and didn't approve of her appearance, resulting in mistreatment. Eventually, the Fatso director offered to become her host, but he turned out to be an ugly, disgusting creep. Kirusu shows compassion, which angers Ratchnara as she accuses him of pretending to like her. She tells him that his interest lies solely in her human body parts. Just then, government agents arrive, stating their intention to arrest the person responsible for harming the weirdo of a director. Kirusu mistakenly believes they're after him as he hit the director earlier when Pappy was laying an egg. He convinces Ratchnara to flee while he surrenders. This selflessness makes Ratchnara happy, and she develops feelings for him. Eventually, things settle down, and Agent Smith apologizes to Ratchnara for what she previously had to bear through. As compensation, Ratchnara requests to live in Kirusu's house, which Smith approves without hesitation. At this point, Kirusu has more girlfriends than Dan Bilzerian. The next morning, Kirusu wakes up with his alarm, and when he tries to turn it off, he accidentally grabs one of Centuria's melons, out of nowhere, scaring Kirusu. At the breakfast table, Kirusu serves them all breakfast, and Ratchnara praises Kirusu's efforts. The arrival of the new member sparks discussions in the home, and Mia becomes extremely jealous of her new rival, especially due to her naughty habits. The other monster girls have no objections to the newcomer joining. She initially thinks of gaining Pappy's support but sees Sue and Pappy playing with Ratchnara. Mia's last hope becomes Centuria, but Centuria also has no objection to Ratchnara living in the home. Next, Kirusu goes to the bathroom. Outside, Mia tries to make fun of Ratchnara's body, but Centuria tells her to act her age. Meanwhile, Kirusu causes some noise, alerting the others. For some reason, Ratchnara tied and blindfolded Kirusu in the bathroom. She claims that she was in the washroom when Kirusu came. Mia scolds her, but Centuria asks Ratchnara to lock the door next time. At night, Ratchnara attacks Kirusu again, hoping to finally sleep with him so she can read him nighttime stories. However, Centuria intervenes and takes him away. She reveals that she dislikes Ratchnara because of how she treats him. As she runs with Kirusu on her back, people stare at her volleyballs. Suddenly, some idiots appear and express their wish to drink some of the fluids that she's carrying. Due to the law, Centuria is unable to fight back. Just as they are about to act, Ratchnera appears and frightens them, trapping them all in her white strings. Centaurea questions Ratchnera about breaking the law, but Ratchnera simply states that as long as nobody finds out, there's no problem. Eventually, Centaurea opens up about her true feelings towards Ratchnera. However, Ratchnera explains that not liking someone is normal. They end up leaving with their relationship improved. The next morning, Kirusu falls ill and needs to stay in bed. The girls want to take care of him, but Agent Smith arrives and claims that it's a new virus resulting from the coexistence of humans with monsters. Smith insists on taking care of him, but the house needs to be quarantined, and all the girls should keep their distance from Kirusu as the virus can spread. Eventually, the girls realize that Sue has the least chance of catching any diseases because her body is a slime, so she can take care of Kirusu. The plan is to teach Sue how to take care of Kirusu, who will then just copy them. She attempts to apply everything she has learned but makes the situation even worse. The other girls also realize that they can't teach her anything valuable, so Kirusu's condition doesn't improve. To understand what Kirusu is feeling, Sue places her tentacle on his head. In reality, he doesn't have a dangerous virus but rather a fever from being cold. It is then revealed that the previous day, Sue was trapped in a place due to the rain, and Kirusu went to help her by giving her his umbrella. However, he got wet in the process, resulting in his illness. Sue soaks the cold from Kirusu's body, transferring that to hers as she won't get sick, and this is how she finally brings Kirusu back to health. The other girls enter the room and are surprised by what they see. Sue speaks normally as if she has learned the language. However, now that Kirusu is healthy, Smith falls sick. Strangely enough, Smith soon contacts Kirusu for a meeting in a cafe, and the girls think it is a date, and Kirusu is cheating on them. Initially, Miro disguises herself as a waitress, but this causes disturbance in the cafe as other people start looking at her mommy milkers, causing Smith and Kirusu to leave. As they get outside, Kirusu sees a girl who looks like Pappy but then sees her hands while Pappy has wings. In reality, Pappy was spying on them, with Sue providing her hands hiding beneath her dress. As Centaurea calls Pappy to ask what she has found, Sue takes the phone inside her slimy body, and it transfers to the entrance of Pappy's kiwis. When the phone vibrates, she gets very emotional and grabs everyone's attention, if you know what I mean. Smith and Kirusu sit alone and want some ice cream. Centaurea and Mia disguise themselves and give ice cream to him. He finds it strange that he is seeing so many familiar faces today. However, many other people gather around the ice cream truck, not for the ice cream but for the milk. Smith is irritated by the noise, so they leave the place again. Eventually, Mia spies on them but she comes across Ratchnera, who uses her skills to track the two down. Mia tries to enter Kirusu's bedroom through the window. However, Mia and Ratchnera are unexpectedly pulled inside by MNO agents of Smith, who point guns at them. It turns out that the entire setup was a plan to protect Kirusu because he had received a death letter from someone named D, warning him that he would die if he married one of the girls. They had organized the date so that the sender could attack them and they can finally know who he is, but things didn't go as planned. Realizing that their plan had failed, Agent Smith offers the girls to take turns and go on a date with Kirusu to lure the culprit. First, it's Mia's turn, but Miro also joins her since she simply desires to become Kirusu's mistress. They visit a park with numerous aquariums filled with fish. Miro is treated like a goddess there as she is also a fish, so she gives Kirusu and Mia a card that grants them access to anywhere they want to go. Miro leaves Mia alone, and they have a great time together. The two go to an aquarium and witness two fish kissing, which leads to Mia and Kirusu kissing. However, Miro interrupts and reveals that the fish are both males. This infuriates Mia and she blames Miro for ruining the moment. Later, Miro puts on a show with some dolphins which impresses Kirusu. Since his attention is focused on Miro, Mia becomes jealous and walks away. She bumps into a lizard man who sympathizes with her as they both feel cold in the place. He offers her a drink, and they find a warmer spot outside the park to relax. There is a pond outside, and they use a small boat to reach the middle. However, the lizard man expresses his intention to claim Mia for himself and harm anyone who gets in his way. Suddenly, Kirusu appears in a swan boat and confronts the lizard man. After the fight, due to his usual caring manner, he also tries to help the lizard man, but suddenly, he turns out to be a girl who only wanted a friend but is embarrassed due to her clothes opening up. When Mia asks if she sent the death letter to Kirusu, she claims to be clueless. After that, Kirusu gives his shirt to Mia, who is feeling cold, and she finds a box inside. Kirusu then opens the box and puts the necklace on Mia's neck. deepening her affection for him even more. Smith eventually takes the lizard girl into her care. Later, Kirusu takes Pappy and Sue on a picnic, accompanied by Zombine to protect them if the attacker finds Kirusu. Suddenly, a monstrous tree made up of industrial waste emerges and attacks them. Kirusu quickly carries Pappy and Sue to safety, but he and Pappy get caught while Sue is thrown directly into the toxic compound. Within the depths of the monster tree resides a beautiful monster girl named Kiai, who strongly hates humans. It turns out that Pappy and Kiai are friends, as Pappy found her while flying around. Kiai had become weak and separated from her group, but Pappy took her to the forest, where she regained her strength and matured from a little girl into a woman. Driven by her hatred towards humans, Kiai intends to harm Kirusu, and Pappy tries to intervene but is too weak. Suddenly, Sue appears in a giant form, equal to the size of Monster Kiai as she soaked all the nearby water. She reveals that Kiai's powers have been amplified due to the toxic waste. To overcome her, they need to drain her powers. Pappy tries to suck Kiai's melons to drain her, but she can't contribute much, causing Kirusu to do the job. As he finally tastes the delicious toxicity from Kiai's melons, Kiai becomes weak, and the group is saved. Then, Agent Smith shows up and scolds Kiai, but Kirusu intervenes, stating that the root cause of the problem is the bad disposal of garbage. They allow Kiai to live peacefully in the forest, and Smith promises her that no one will dump waste here again. As they all suspected Kiai to be the one who sent Kirusu the death letter, it is revealed that she can't even write, so she is not the culprit. Next, it's Centuria's turn to go on a date with Kirusu. As they walk down the street with Centuria wearing huge armor, they receive a call from Manako who reminds them that the purpose of their date is to find the culprit. However, Centuria's armor makes it challenging. Centuria eventually gives in and removes her helmet. They go to a park for a picnic, and Centuria gives Kirusu the basket in which she brought him sandwiches. As Kirusu tastes a sandwich, Centuria asks him if it is tasty, and he lies that it is. Ratchnara, who is also there, comments that Centuria's food lacks taste since she only eats vegetables and the sandwiches taste like nothing. Disappointed by her failed attempt to create something delicious, Centuria walks away. A small troublesome girl named Lilith hypnotizes Centuria, who gets taken over by her desire to suck Kirusu's lollipop. She offers her milk to him, and the poor boy panics. In the meantime, a wild boar suddenly appears, targeting Lilith. Kirusu uses his coat to divert the boar's attention towards a tree. Just then, Centuria swiftly knocks it out with a log. Frustrated with herself, she expresses that she is of no use and wants to be useful to Kirusu. Kirusu reassures her, embracing and assuring her that she will always be needed. He rides Centuria, asking her to take him home. Meanwhile, Ratchnara captures Lilith and seeks revenge for the trouble that she caused. Back at home, Centuria prepares several dishes using only salads and greens. However, since the girls crave meat, they give all the food to Sue, who can consume anything edible. Later, Tanisha takes Kirusu to a cafe where the other monster agents are gathered. They show him another threatening letter and express their desire to date him. Seeing the monster girls enjoying their dates with Kirusu made them want to experience the same thing. Tanisha is the first to go on a date, and they visit a clothing store. However, she gets stuck in a dress due to her squatting obsession. Kirusu offers to help by sewing an extension onto the dress, which delights her. She appreciates Kirusu's sewing skills and expresses her gratitude with a warm, big hug. Next is Zombine, who takes him to the cinema to watch a zombie horror movie. During their walk, Zombine loses one of her hands as all her body parts are sewed together. Kirusu sews it back on in a dressing room, which impresses her. To tease him, Zombine removes the stitches from one of her tennis balls and asks him to sew it. However, Kirusu unexpectedly enjoys the task. Manako is the next agent to go on a date with Kirusu. Since she doesn't enjoy being around crowds, she asks him to go to a more private location. They sit on a bench and enjoy a cup of tea together. Manako is insecure because people are often afraid of her due to her one eye, and they can't look at her face. However, when she notices that Kirusu is looking directly into her eye without hesitation, she realizes he is genuine and not like others. Suddenly, a suspicious person runs past them, and the other agents appear to capture her. It turns out to be Doppel, who was spying on them. It is revealed that Smith herself wrote the death letter, and Doppel was also a part of the plan. She reveals that the purpose of this letter was to make Kirusu marry one of the monster girls soon. However, Doppel reveals that she only sent one letter and knows nothing about the second death letter. At night, Kirusu encounters another monster girl who is headless and has a scythe, just like a death angel. Kirusu arrives home together with the girl, which frightens Mia. He leaves her there and decides to search for her head, accompanied by the other girls. After encountering a few scares, Mia finds the head. When they arrive home, they fix her head to her body. The new monster girl named Lala claims to be a soul reaper, and she is the culprit who sent Kirusu the second death letter. She reveals that she is a death goddess and is here because someone is about to die and she will take out their soul. To their surprise, that person turns out to be Kirusu. Before Lala can do anything, Rachna traps her in white strings and all the girls unite to protect Kirusu. Pappy picks up Kirusu and flies away, but due to her poor night vision, she accidentally crashes but Kirusu lands on Sue. Centauria then takes Kirusu on a non-stop journey until they reach a safe place. However, Lala tracks them down and Kirusu falls into a river where Miro awaits her. Thinking that he might not escape his certain death, Miro expresses her desire to eat his cream puff before he dies. Just as his white cream is about to come all over her, Mia saves Kirusu and brings him out of the river. On the surface, Rachna also claims there is no way to prevent what is about to happen and suggests they end Kirusu's life quickly to minimize unnecessary suffering. Mia refuses, stating that taking Kirusu's life means taking hers too. Fed up with the situation, Kirusu walks towards the road and claims that they shouldn't be afraid as he believes he will not die just because a random girl said so. On the road, Truck-kun approaches him, but it turns out to be a small toy truck. Kirusu tells everyone that they should stop believing Lala's story about him dying. Back at home, Smith arrives to solve the situation and reveals that Lala's whole story about Kirusu's death is just her own imagination. As for the threatening letter, Lala was skeptical that Kirusu had faced many dangers and survived, so she wanted to kick his bucket to end his misery. With nowhere else to go, Lala asks to live with Kirusu, which Smith quickly allows since it means less work for her. Later, Kirusu worries about their financial situation and remaining money, and he realizes that they are in severe debt. With another member added, things only worsen as the girls continue eating like beasts, and a buffet of trouble unfolds. At the local market, Miro impresses a fish vendor who gives them one of their best fish for free. Surprisingly, the local sellers and vendors show their affection for the girls, so they receive extra food items. Meanwhile, Sue reveals to Kirusu that she can eat anything edible, so they don't need to buy food for her. However, Kirusu believes that as a family, they should eat the same food together. Sue leads Kirusu to the forest where Kai is residing, and she allows them to take what they need. As Kirusu begins to pick food items, Sue helps him distinguish poisonous and safe plants from each other and they gather a good amount of food. However, Sue accidentally transforms into a poisonous form and turns purple. While they are on their way back home, Draco confronts them and attacks Kirusu, expressing her desire to have Mia all to herself. Unsurprisingly, Draco is quickly defeated by a blast of poison that Sue spits at him. Upon returning home, Kirusu prepares a feast with the gathered food, grateful they will have enough to eat for a while. However, Smith and her group suddenly appear. Poor Kirusu cooks food for everyone like a machine. Unfortunately, all the food they manage to acquire is quickly eaten. Seeing Kirusu upset, Smith asks him why and Sue reveals that they don't have enough money for food. Hearing this, Smith reveals that all the hosts are allowed to buy necessary food items for free, which generates a miserable expression on Kirusu's face. Comment Kirusu Bulzarian, and I'll see you next time.